Makes it easy. S.C. Johnson, a family company.
Problems are easier when you talk about them, even if it's burning feminine itch. Maximum Strength Vagisil has the strongest itch medicine of its kind, plus skin-soothing vitamins. For instant relief, trust Vagisil, a better understanding of better intimate care.
Missed it again. Well, hello. Yeah, she's interested. She's definitely interested.
Creep.
Who says you don't meet beautiful women on the bus? Who says you need a car to get noticed? Who says you need good credit? I'm doing just fine.
Want to get off the bus? Call 1-800-APPROVE. Get the loan and get on with life.
Spend your weekend with New York One. You'll find out what's going on, where to take the kids, what the weather will be like, where to eat, what's entertaining, and we'll always give you the time and temperature at the bottom of your screen. So sit back, relax, and turn to New York One for all the information you need to know. Morning, noon, and night, and on the weekend, New Yorkers are watching New York One, the only local news worth watching.
Welcome to TRL, live in New York. Here on MTV, I'm Carson Daly.
There are better ways to advertise, and Time Warner City Cable can help. Advertise your business locally on MTV to reach today's young customers. Tap into the power of original programming like TRL, The Real World, and events like the Video Music Awards.
This is where it's at.
Advertising on cable is easy and more effective than some other more creative strategies. So call Time Warner City Cable today. They'll even produce a commercial for you.
Don't miss the most exciting soccer tournament from the Americas, the Copa Libertadores 2002, and the semifinal round live on in-demand pay-per-view. See America from Mexico, Gremio and Sao Cayetano from Brazil, and Olimpia from Paraguay from Tuesday, July 9th to Wednesday, July 17th. See the competition that will decide which teams advance to the final round of the Copa Libertadores.
See the excitement up close and personal on in-demand pay-per-view.
Tonight on Court TV, at 8, NYPD Blue, at 9, Forensic Files, and at 10, Mugshots. Join the investigation on Court TV.
It seemed like a harmless prank. 2 cars load of high school students cover a freshman's home with toilet paper. But the result was something they could never have imagined. Welcome here to Both Sides on Court TV. I'm Sheila Stayback in for Ricky Kleeman. The home belonged to the Tonkin family, and Brett and his wife Margaret did not find the prank very funny. Tonkin followed a carload of high schoolers, but the car crashed into a tree, and now Tonkin is on trial for vehicular homicide. He claims he's not responsible for the crash of the teenagers. Even the prosecutors admit the girls were driving recklessly. Tonkin maintains he chased the girls to get their license plate number and to notify authorities. The state says Tonkin was driving right behind the car with his high beams on. The defense also says Tonkin gave up the chase long before the accident took place, but prosecutors say Tonkin followed the car right up until the wreck. As we return to the testimony in the trial, Prosecutor Barry Morgan is questioning a man who witnessed the car chase. Here's Ken Harper as he recounts what he saw.
What happened after you went over to the high school in Roswell?
We were coming home. It was around 11:30, midnight, and we went back to Mount Asia because we had left Tony's car there. And we left Mount Asia to go back to Mike Jackson's house, and we made a left onto Bells Ferry Road off of the Bear Parkway, and then we made a right onto Rock Bridge and proceeded to go to Mike's house, or to Tony's house, to drop his car off.
Had you been over there before?
Yes.
Did anything unusual happen while you were on Rock Bridge Road?
When we came on Rock Bridge Road, we stopped at a 3-way stop, and I noticed a car was coming around the turn previous to where I was stopped at.
Had the name of that road is?
Cedarbrook, possibly.
Okay.
I think they made a right off of Cedarbrook. And I was stopped at the stop sign, like I said, and the next thing I noticed was this car was going around me and came very close to hitting the left front end of my car. And out of curiosity, just because we were out, I made my right-hand turn because that's the direction I was going, and I started to follow the car that had went around me. And as I was noticing what was going on, I noticed a large truck also coming around me as well, coming up behind me.
Coming up behind you?
Mm-hmm.
Could you hear these vehicles coming, or did you just see them?
I just saw them.
Okay. As the car came around you, you said it came around which side of your car?
The left side, the driver's side.
Sitting in the right-hand lane?
Mm-hmm.
And the car came around on the left-hand side?
Yes, sir.
Was there another vehicle following you?
Eric Mormon was following, but he had still not come down the hill. I don't know. I don't remember him until after everything else had happened.
Okay. And as the car came around you, were you able to see inside the car?
I saw somewhat in the car. I do remember seeing in the back passenger side several girls. I know two were probably looking back. I remember seeing one face in particular. They were all looking back, and I recall hearing screams and shrieks, and the tires of the car were squealing as well as they went around me.
You said you heard screams and shrieks. Were they as if on a joyride, or how would you describe it?
Startled girls, basically. Scared.
How about the looks on the faces that you saw?
I just remember eyes looking back. That's all I can recall.
Okay. Now, after the car went around you, you began to make your turn.
Right.
When's the first time that you noticed the pickup truck?
As I noticed the girls looking back as they were coming around me, I did look back in my rear view and I saw headlights coming. I still did not know what was going on there.
Where had the headlights made their turn yet?
Yes.
Off of Cedar Brook?
Mm-hmm.
And how close behind would you say that the pickup truck was?
From me?
Yeah.
20 to 25 feet at most.
Less than 150 feet?
Oh, definitely.
What happened after you made your turn?
I made the turn and I decided to see what was going on, so I proceeded behind the car that had passed me on the left. And on that particular road, I believe it's Chapman, there's a steep hill, and as I was going up the hill, I was continuing to follow the car, and the large truck was right on my tail, and as I came down the hill, I pulled over to the right to let him go around me because it was at such a high rate of speed, and my fiance just didn't want to get involved, so I pulled over and let everything happen.
When you said you were going up the hill and you said the truck was behind you, how close was the truck behind you?
Right on my tail.
If you could give us some estimate of distance?
5 to 10 feet, possibly, at the most.
How far was the car away from you at that time?
Probably 25 feet away, at the most.
And what did you do as you moved up the hill?
I just accelerated up the hill, and I noticed the truck right on my tail, and I didn't know what was going on, so we merged over to the right to let him go around me because he was pushing me so hard.
When you say pushing you so hard, what do you mean?
He was on my tail at such a high rate of speed, I felt as if I was being pushed over the hill, and I could tell at that time I realized that they were probably chasing that car, so I pulled over to the right.
And so you pulled off to the right-hand side of the roadway.
Right.
How fast do you think you were going up that hill?
Up the hill, I would say no more than 30 to 35 miles per hour. It's this very steep hill.
As you came across the hill, did that speed increase?
No more than 5 miles per hour, if at all.
So would you estimate the speed when the pickup truck was behind you? What would you estimate the speed from the time it got behind you, from the slowest speed to the fastest speed that you had to go?
40 miles per hour, maybe 45 miles per hour.
All right. After you pulled off to the side of the road, did you pull into a subdivision?
No, there is a neighborhood on the right-hand side, and there's a small median, and I just pulled over to the curb in front of the subdivision right before the entrance.
But you didn't pull down into the subdivision, did you? And as you sat there on the side of the road, what did you do?
We sat there. His Jeep finally came over the hill, and he pulled up next to me, and we were talking, hey, did you see that? What's going on? After that, we let it go, and we proceeded to Tony's house.
Just one of a few witnesses who you'll hear from that night to talk about just what both cars were doing once the chase was underway. Joining us to examine both sides of this case are former Kings County, New York Assistant District Attorney Ernesto Marrero and Criminal Defense Attorney Robert ALTCHILER. Welcome to you both, gentlemen, and thank you for joining us. Ernie, let me start with you as a former prosecutor. One of the things that may play into a lot of people's sense of fair play is the fact that with this man with no previous history, not even a traffic violation, facing the responsibility for girls being killed in a vehicle that he was not driving, and also the person who did take responsibility for that is facing 2 years probation after she was adjudicated. He's facing 8 years in prison.
Well, it always seems that way, and I think the American public is used to the fact that when there's more than one actor in a crime, that some people cut a deal. And frankly, some of those people, like Tony the Bull Gravano, who admitted murdering 18 people, may be as bad, if not worse, than the person being tried. So I think we've gotten acclimated to that, and I don't think that'll be an impediment to trying to prosecute this man.
But what about the sense of fair play that this man was doing what anybody else would have done if their house was toilet paper for the third time in a few months, that's the last straw, I'm going to go out and find out who these girls are and have them held accountable?
Well, I don't think that anyone else would do that. I know I wouldn't, and I don't think you would either. Just jump in your pickup truck in the middle of the night and chase someone down a darkened road.
All due respect, you don't know me.
Then maybe I would try you too.
Okay. Well, then let's get to that, what other people are saying, that this is a man that it was only toilet paper. His daughter's hair was not shaved. One of our viewers is saying in the email her head was not held underwater. Other real pranks that put a child's sense of life in danger, or at least her sense of self, somewhat compromised, that this is only toilet paper. What about the fact that he was going a bit too far with his actions?
Well, I would have been in my car with my baseball bat. End of story.
And Ernie would have prosecuted.
Well, that's fine. And you know what? And I probably would have won. I probably would have gotten off. That's what I feel about it. What I think is there's something about the home. You know, the home is the castle. And we didn't just make that up. That started a very long time ago, way before we even had a country. And when you come into someone's home, or you come into someone's property, and you do something, I'm not saying that someone deserved to get killed, but I don't think the defendant ever intended these people to get hurt whatsoever. They wound up getting killed.
And this was also...
But you have someone else, a young girl, who was driving these other victims in the car, admittedly driving recklessly without her lights on, passing people on a stop sign. Now they knew, the girls in that car and the driver who pled guilty knew this family. Okay, they knew the father was not a homicidal maniac. They presumably knew that he was an upstanding member of the community.
And
so what would they afraid of? That they were going to
Bob,
get
if I could interrupt you, what someone could say that this was also part of the thrill of the evening. They're toilet papering a house, and now they're going to get away from this guy before he finds out who it is that had done it.
But a teenage thrill should not lead to death. And yes, maybe before we had laws, people were allowed to get into cars with bats and chase people across highways to their deaths or into trees to their deaths. But that's why laws came about, to try to keep the animal instinct that perhaps we all have, all right, from taking effect and killing people unnecessarily.
Okay, well, I'm going to let you two guys talk about this a little bit more. He just called you an animal. I just want to let you know. I'm just kidding.
I welcome it.
Just starting a little bit of trouble here on both sides. We're always interested, though, in what you have to say, as we've just indicated from the email we've seen. We cover these trials here at Court TV, and if you have any questions or comments about them, or of Brent Tompkin, you can send us an email here. The address is both sides at courttv.com, and we will be back with more from a witness to this fatal car chase, so stay with us.
Tonight on Mugshots, he was a beloved and respected rabbi.
He had great insight and was a dynamic teacher.
Until...
The charge is capital murder, Your Honor.
How did a man of God...
I think he's capable of anything.
...become a devil in disguise?
We as a family sought only justice.
I categorically deny that I murdered my wife.
Fred Newlander.
A rabbi sitting on death row.
On Mugshots. Tonight at 10 on Court TV.
Geico has great service.
Geico has great service.
Our claim representatives, that's right.
Are available 24 hours a day.
You have a very commercial look.
Next, please.
Well, hello.
Oh, great. A talking gecko.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
If you've had a heart attack or a stroke, the last thing you need is another one sneaking up on you. After all, you've got better things to do. I know. In my case, I had a heart attack. Then I heard about Plavix, so I asked my doctor. He told me Plavix is a prescription pill that can help protect you from a heart attack or stroke if you've recently had one, or if you have poor circulation in the legs causing pain.
Plavix is proven to help keep blood platelets from sticking together and forming clots, which helps keep your blood flowing. This can help protect you from another heart attack or stroke. If you have a medical condition that is causing bleeding, such as a stomach ulcer, you should not use Plavix. Side effects include itching, rash, diarrhea, and bruising. Additional rare but serious side effects could occur. Ask your doctor.
Taking Plavix once a day helps protect me.
Find out if Plavix can help protect you from another heart attack or stroke.
Attention. Wait, Mr. Osborne, last seat at the computer store. Please come to Lost and Found. Your family's here. Quite the computer quagmire out there, isn't it, Mr. O? I see this all the time. Anywho, sir, there are people who can help you find your way, like the folks at Dell. Just call or go online. They'll guide you along so you can get exactly what you need in a PC. No more, no less. Yep, with Dell, you get the right PC at the right price. Daddy! All in a day's work, folks.
Right now, you can get a Dimension desktop for just $749, featuring an Intel Pentium 4 processor that delivers awesome performance for today's digital media, music, photos, gaming, and beyond. And right now, for a limited time, you'll get free shipping. There's great deals on notebooks, too.
Dude, you're getting it. Dell.
Easy to buy, easy to own, easy as Dell. Dell PCs use Intel Pentium 4 processors.
Would you like to help provide your family a gift of $250,000 for just 50 cents a day? Now you can give the gift of peace of mind with a quality term life insurance policy through Matrix Direct. As little as 50 cents a day can buy a 35-year-old $250,000 of life insurance, or a 40-year-old can get the same coverage for just pennies more a day. So much peace of mind at so little cost. Protective Life Insurance Company.
For a free quote with no obligation, call 1-800-887-8751. That's 1-800-887-8751. Call now.
A young woman kidnapped at gunpoint.
I feared for the worst.
Watch as forensic experts follow the clues to an amazing escape.
1 out of 3,000 would have the DNA profile.
On Forensic Files, Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. only on Court TV.
As we went into commercial just before that, we saw Ken Harper, who witnessed the chase, talking about how it certainly looked as if the two cars were traveling at a speed to the extent that he felt he had to get out of the way. The second car, the pickup truck with Brett Tonkin in it, close behind him. Now he's going to be cross-examined by the defense attorney, Larry Yarborough, as Ken Harper talks more about witnessing the chase on cross.
And then you all came back, and you were all going to go over to Tony's house?
Yes, sir.
Drop the car, and then go over to Mike Jackson's house?
Correct.
Tony lived on Wood Forest?
Yes, sir.
And Mike Jackson lived on this first road here as you're coming up the hill?
Carrollton Court.
Carrollton Court, correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, as you came down Rock Bridge, how far behind you was Eric Mormon and Mike Jackson?
Between 200 and 250 feet. They were not close behind me, but they were following me.
When you reached the stop sign at Chapman Road, had they yet cleared the intersection of Cedarbrook Drive?
I do not think so, no.
Did you notice either one of the two vehicles you had described as you passed Cedarbrook Drive?
No, sir.
So you came to a full stop at Rockbridge and Chapman.
Yes, sir.
Had you begun your right-hand turn when the blue Cavalier came around you?
No, sir.
So the blue Cavalier came around you.
Right.
How fast was it going?
Fast enough for their tires to be squealing.
Had you seen the car in your rearview mirror before it got to that point?
I saw a car coming, but at the present time when they had made the turn, they came around the turn with no lights on. I had no idea what was going on, and then I didn't really notice them until they were coming around me, because we were stopped, of course, and the car just came around us.
Well, you said you noticed them when they came off Cedar Brook. Is that correct?
No.
You didn't?
Well, as they made the turn, that's when I first noticed them.
Make which turn? I think it's
off. They made a right onto Rock Bridge off of Cedar Brook.
All right. At that point, did they have their lights on?
No.
Okay, so the lights were off as they came off Cedar Brook.
Right.
And they stayed off while they came up Rock Bridge Road.
Yes, sir.
Came up around you, went around in front of you, still with the lights off.
Right.
When they came off of Cedar Brook, what was it that drew your attention to them if they didn't have their lights on?
The squealing of the tires.
So they were going fast coming off of Cedar Brook?
Yes, sir. They didn't make a stop. They just came right around the turn.
And they didn't slow down and stop at, obviously, Rock Bridge and Chapman either?
No, sir.
Went in the left-hand lane and pulled right in front of you and went on to Chapman?
Right.
All right. Now, this must have got your curiosity up. And you pulled in behind her, correct?
I made my right turn.
All right.
And I proceeded to go up the hill behind them, yes.
Now, when you turned right on Chapman, how far behind her were you at that point?
15, 20 feet at the most.
Okay. Now that would be roughly, what, about this distance between you and me?
Roughly, yes.
Okay, so this was where her car was when you started your turn.
Mm-hmm.
When you got your turn completed, where was she?
She was on the top of the hill, and I was close behind.
No, I'm talking about when you completed the turn, which puts your tail right at the stop sign.
Right.
Where was she?
She had gone around me and was proceeding up the hill.
All right. And was she proceeding up the hill at the speed limit?
Not that I recall, probably not, no.
Does she still have her lights off?
Yes, sir.
All of her lights were off?
I did not notice any parking lights. I can say that the headlights were off.
Okay. Now, how far down Chapman were you before you looked in your rearview mirror and saw the truck?
I probably wasn't even on Chapman yet. I did notice the truck as I was making my right-hand turn onto Chapman just because I was looking in my rearview mirror. Okay. So I noticed the truck coming up Rock Bridge Road. At that time, I didn't know what was going on there.
So.
Now, you'll notice that in the middle of that cross-examination, we showed you a map that indicated that from Cottonwood Drive, which was where the chase began, how it zigzagged along the country roads until it ended up in the crash scene. And there, just one witness talking about the squealing tires and how he witnessed what was going on that night. We'll be back with another witness who's going to talk about his vantage point of what took place right after this commercial break.
Legal flashback, July 1st, 1934. Alcatraz Federal Prison opens in San Francisco. It would house notorious inmates for almost 30 years, including Al Capone and George Machine Gun Kelly. And in 1991, Courtroom Television Network premieres in over 2 million homes.
On the next NYPD Blue.
A kid got shot in the schoolyard. Caught him in a can trying to dump this into the toilet.
If you think that I'm trying to protect him in any way, you can kiss my French-Portuguese ass.
NYPD Blue, tonight at 8 on Court TV.
Missed it again. Well, hello. Yeah, she's interested. She's definitely interested. Creep. Who says you don't meet beautiful women on the bus? Who says you need a car to get noticed? Who says you need good credit? I'm doing just fine.
Want to get off the bus? Call 1-800-APPROVE. Get the loan and get on with life.
DTV, digital television from Time Warner Cable. Access to over 250 channels of entertainment. Crystal clear digital picture and sound. No extra equipment to buy. To add a DTV package, call 1-800-OK-CABLE. HDTV from Time Warner Cable. It's television you have to see to believe. Turn it on.
What's in your ice cream?
Power for BB-80.
Now check out Breyers in the black pack.
Milk, sugar, cream, and natural vanilla. That's why it tastes so good, buddy.
Breyers ice cream. It's only natural.
In an era of gritty reality TV, with in-your-face violence and gratuitous sex, finally comes an exceptionally clean cop show.
Oh my God! What is that? Grease?
Tony Shalhoub is Monk. Crime solving is a dirty business. That's the problem.
You just have this one, it's a dog hair.
Monk, a USA original series, premieres July 12th at 9, only on USA.
I'm going with the flow.
Improved Summer's Eve Feminine Deodorant Spray. Now Vitamin E moisturizes as Nutress neutralizes odor instead of covering it up. It's gentle, effective, and unique, just like you.
My name is Bill Davidson. I'm 71 years of age. I have macular degeneration. I was happily married for 43 years. My wife passed away. I live here by myself and my dog. When I was diagnosed, I had never heard of macular degeneration. The thing that really amazed me was how fast the disease affected me. You lose the ability to focus and read, so I can no longer drive or recognize friends on the street.
The good news is there's a treatment that offers hope. If you're over 65 and haven't been tested recently, do it, or at least call for this free information.
You gotta catch it early.
Tonight on Court TV, at 8, NYPD Blue, at 9, Forensic Files, and at 10, Mugshots. Join the investigation on Court TV.
Next up, we're going to hear from Eric Mormon. He was in the car, 2 cars that night with friends. He was in one of them, and he's going to describe the chase that took place.
What happened when you got into Mike's neighborhood? Who was with you?
At this time, it was just me and Mike in my car.
What happened when you and Mike got into the neighborhood?
Well, we went one of the back ways, and we were following Ken, and we came to, I don't know road names, but we were coming down the road, and we saw 2 cars. Looked like they were chasing each other, and they went around.
What happened when you saw these? Where was Ken's car when you saw this happen?
He was in front of me at the stop sign.
At a stop sign?
Yes.
And where were you along the road?
I was right before where they came out on that road.
You don't know the name of that road?
I don't know any of those names.
Okay. And what did you see? What did you do when you saw these cars come out?
Well, I stopped.
You stopped? What did you see after you stopped?
I saw a smaller car, a car, and then behind it was a truck.
How close were the car and truck when you saw them?
I don't know an exact measurement, but they were close enough for us to be like in shock about it.
If you could, using some landmark here in the courtroom, could you give us an idea of what you're talking about?
Distance between each other, I'd probably say the end of that microphone to the board, maybe the TV.
And you're saying the end of
this first microphone right here.
This microphone here on the jury?
To maybe the board, that board or that TV.
To the board, to the TV. Do you have an idea in feet how much that is?
I don't know. I guess 10, 12, I don't know.
What did you see the car do?
The car just, it went around Ken, went around the stop sign.
What did Ken do?
Ken just stopped. He couldn't do anything because the truck's behind it.
Okay, after the car went around him, did you see what Ken did?
After the car did or the truck?
After the car.
He still was just stopped there.
And then what happened?
Then the truck went around Ken.
Okay, and then what happened after that?
Then Ken turned and I followed Ken. And then I think maybe there's a hill and we went over the hill. And then Ken was stopped. I pulled next along Ken, and then I kept on.
Did you ever see the car and truck again after they went up the hill?
Not that I remember.
What happened after you stopped to talk to Ken?
I just stopped real quick, you know, like what's going on, and then I just went ahead, because, I don't know, we were going to go to Tony's house anyway, and Mike knew where he was going, and so we went ahead and went.
And you went to Tony's house?
Yeah.
Did Ken and Elizabeth follow you at that time?
Yeah, we made it to Tony's house before they did.
And then what happened? Did y'all go anywhere else after that?
That was about it. We stopped.
Thank you, Mr. Mormon.
Well, don't get up yet, Mr. Mormon, because you're going to have cross-examination in just a few moments, which we will hear from. You see a slight difference there. You and Ernie were both reacting to the description of that night in the chase, Bob Altschiler.
Right. Well, this witness seems to be suggesting that it was a closer chase than the preceding witness did. And welcome to the wonderful world of eyewitness testimony. Because what you'll find is that no two witnesses to an exciting event ever tell the same story. And it's up to the parties to make the best of it or make the worst of it.
I don't know that either story, though, necessarily looks bad for the prosecution. One just makes it an even worse situation for the defense, does it not?
That's correct. In either event, both independent eyewitnesses are giving a picture of a man who is bent on revenge, bent on making sure he gets to these girls, and eventually he did.
Well, can I just jump in here? Because, you know, Ernie's talking about revenge, and I'm not hearing anything. I mean, I don't think that you can tell by seeing two screeching cars going by whether one comes 50 yards after or one comes 10 after, whether or not you can read into, you know, read vengeance or revenge into that. The defendant has said from day one he was looking for a license plate number. Maybe it was license plate plus anger, but I certainly don't think, and I guess we'll, you know, find out later on, I certainly don't think that the jury is going to think that Mr. Tompkin wanted any harm to befall these girls.
He was with his wife. He was with his wife in a nightgown, so it doesn't seem that he was setting out to do something that was going to end in that kind of violence.
And I would just have to hope that the prosecutor put on the jury people that would not leave their houses, as Bob would, with a bat, because some of us see when you use a weapon, be it a bat or a truck,
or a car,
vehicle,
yeah.
You mean business,
you know,
serious business.
Except if you're going to go out and do that kind of business, okay, let's hypothesize. Let's say you're going to go out and do that kind of business. You're going to bring your wife? I mean, that's...
Can you think of a better defense witness than somebody that will stand by your side?
Well, now you're asking that people in this fit of anger are thinking that far ahead to sitting in a trial that's going to have these kind of questions come up. But hold these thoughts, gentlemen, because now we're going to look at what the defense attorney, Jim Hogan, tries to do in cross-examining this young Eric Mormon.
Anyway, we go down and we turn at some road off of Bells Ferry Road. Do you think it was Bells Ferry Road you turned off?
To get to, yeah, it was Bells Ferry.
Okay, and you turned off some particular road?
Yeah, it's like, I know it as the back way to wherever they are, Mike's house. I know it as the back way to Mike's house.
Have you taken the back way a few times before to get to Mike's house?
Once or twice, maybe with somebody else driving me, so I...
All right. Anyway, we turn down this road, and you come to a three-way stop?
The three-way stop is where Ken was stopped at, I believe.
Okay.
Other than that, I don't know of any other stops on that road.
Were you following Ken?
Yeah, I was behind Ken.
Okay, because you didn't really know where you were going, right?
No, I mean, I had Mike in the car, though.
Okay. Was Mike telling you what to do, or were you following
Well, I mean, I can follow Ken, but if I needed help, Mike, I'm sure would have told me.
Well, so you were following Ken,
yeah,
is that correct? Okay. Ken was in front of you, and he stopped at the three-way stop there.
Yeah.
Okay, and you saw this vehicle come around?
Yeah.
Okay, and that was at the three-way stop?
No, not at the three-way stop.
What was it?
The cars came out in front of me, which was not at the three-way stop. The three-way stop was where Ken was stopped. They came in front of me and then around Ken at the three-way stop.
Ken was stopped at the three-way stop, and the car went around Ken. Is that correct?
It got in the left lane and went around Ken.
It went around Ken, and Ken, is your testimony reflected, he stayed there. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Stayed there, stopped.
Well, he couldn't move anywhere because there's a truck behind the car.
All right. So he didn't go anywhere?
No, he couldn't.
Okay. And so what did the truck do?
Followed the car.
Followed the car. Was the truck right behind the car at that point?
It was close.
Okay. So Ken stopped at that stop sign. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And the car goes around, and the truck goes around and is in back of the car. Is that correct?
It's behind the car, yes.
And so you're behind Ken at this time?
I'm still behind Ken, like I was following him, but...
Okay. And so the car and the truck go off?
Yeah.
Okay. You're behind Ken, right? And at some point in time, he pulls off, and you're behind him.
Well, he went ahead in front of me. So then I had to go to the stop sign, and I had to make my turn. And then when I got wherever Ken was, he was pulled over. So we pulled up next to him. What's going on? Then I went ahead to Tony's house.
Okay. What's going on? That's when he had turned into that subdivision, right into that subdivision?
If that's a subdivision, he at the stop sign, he made a right, and then went over that road and stopped and pulled over, and I came up over.
Okay. Was he pulled over into the subdivision on the right side, the street on the right side?
What? I don't know of a subdivision. It was just one road. I don't know a subdivision.
But he was pulled over and he was on the side. He turned right into some road. Is that correct?
No, he was just on the side of the road.
He was on the side of the road. All right. And you pulled over and said, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
And from that point, you guys, where, you went to Tony's? Is that right?
Yeah, we went to Tony's house.
All right. Well, why did we go to Tony's?
Because he was going to drop off his car there.
Okay, dropped off his car there, and right after that, you went where?
We were going to drive over to Mike's house.
Okay, did you drive over to Mike's house?
Yeah, we did.
What happened at Mike's house?
We just hung out.
Well, there, the defense talking to someone, again, he's not involved with this. He's on the road himself with his friends, all going to hang out, as he just said, at a party. And in the meantime, they witnessed these two cars speeding past them. We're going to go down right now to the Court TV News Center with an update from Vinnie Politan on the day's legal news.
Good afternoon, I'm Vinnie Politan with the latest from the Court TV News Center. In southern Afghanistan, at least 40 civilians are dead after U.S. helicopter gunships and jets mistakenly attacked a house. Some reports say a wedding party was taking place. The errant bombing occurred in a province where Allied troops have been searching for al-Qaeda and Taliban fugitives. U.S. officials said the attack was launched after American forces came under fire. Afghan hospital officials said most of the victims were women and children. In Detroit, a mother accused of leaving her children to die inside her sweltering car while she went to have her hair done has been charged with first-degree murder. Taraji Maynor is in jail without bond. Police said the 10-month-old and 3-year-old child were left alone in her black compact car for more than 3 hours. A part-time firefighter looking for work has been charged with starting the worst wildfire in Arizona history. Leonard Gregg worked under contract as a firefighter for the Bureau of Indian Affairs and was one of the first people called to fight the blaze. According to an investigator, Gregg admitted setting the fire so he could get work on a fire crew. A detention hearing is set for Wednesday. We'll be back with more news after this quick break.
Spray and wash runs from stains. Shout's thicker to concentrate its cleaning power right on the stain, so stains won't stick to your clothes. No wonder Shout gets out more tough stains in just one wash. Shout, so powerfully thick, one wash does the trick. S.C. Johnson, a family company.
A former police officer serving 30 years for attacking a Haitian immigrant in 1997 says another accused officer was not present during the attack. Justin Volpe testified today that Charles Schwarz was not in the precinct bathroom when Abner Louima was assaulted with a broomstick. An appeals court overturned Schwarz's conviction earlier this year for violating Louima's civil rights. WorldCom shares have dipped sharply as the NASDAQ stock market announced plans to remove shares from trading as early as Friday. WorldCom is facing charges over its admission that it hid nearly $4 billion in expenses. The telecom giant has informed the government today that it's looking into possible irregularities in its reserve accounts. The Securities and Exchange Commission demanded a report after filing civil fraud charges last week. And Chicago police are investigating 4 newly discovered tapes showing singer R. Kelly having sex, possibly with minors. Police say the new tapes were discovered in Orange County, Florida, in a motor home owned by an RV rental company. The R&B singer has already pleaded not guilty to child pornography charges involving another tape that allegedly shows Kelly having sex with an underage girl. That's all for now from the Court TV News Center. I'm Vinny Politan. Now back to both sides with Sheila Steinbach in the studio. Sheila. Thank
you so much, Vinny. Good to see you again. We're going to have more news in an hour. Let's return now to the trial of Brett Tonkin. Tonkin claims he just wanted to find out who had covered his home with toilet paper down there in Georgia when he began a car chase that ended in tragedy. The other car crashed into a tree and killed 3 girls. Brett Tonkin is now charged with vehicular homicide. He says he's not responsible for the accident. We turn now to the testimony from Marsha Karen. Her daughter, Leslie, died in the wreck.
Did there come a time that after the crash that you met with Mr. Tonkin?
Yes, sir.
At whose request was that?
Per Mr. Tonkin.
And where did that meeting take place?
Church of Northwest Atlanta in Marietta.
Whose church is that?
Mine.
Who was present?
My pastors, Rawson and Gwen Carlin.
Anyone else?
Mr. Tonkin, his wife, and his daughter.
Did you know the purpose of that meeting?
Not really. I was informed of what the purpose would probably be, but I didn't know, no, sir.
What happened when you got there?
I walked in, and Mr. Tonkin, his wife, and his daughter were sitting there, and my pastors were there. And my pastors, of course, introduced me to them.
You didn't know?
I'd never met them.
Huh. What happened after you were introduced?
Mr. Tonkin looked at me and he said, I realize that you've heard what the media has said, and you've probably read all the newspapers, and he said, but I'd like to tell you my story. I'd like to tell you what really happened. And I said, well, I've heard one side of the story, but I said, I'll listen to yours. I said, and at that time, his wife was very flippant. She made the statement to the fact that I had already made my mind up and there was no reason for him to discuss it any further. But I told him to go ahead. I would, be happy to listen to him. And he told me that what he was doing was he was going to get a tag number. And I told him, I said, I believe that maybe you perceive that to be true, and maybe you've justified it in your mind that that's what you were trying to do. But I said, is it not true, in fact, that when the girls jumped in the car and they took off, you took off after them? You were speeding at a high rate of speed? He said, yes, ma'am, I was. I said, is it true that when they ran the 4-way stop sign, you ran one? He said, yes, ma'am, it was. I said, when they ran the second one, is that true that you did it? He said, yes, ma'am, it was. I said, what on the God's earth were you thinking? I said, what were you going to do to these girls? He said, I don't know. I said, I've heard your side of the story. I said, you want to hear my side? He said, yes, I do. I told him, I said, I believe that you caused the accident and you killed my daughter. I said, I forgive you for that because I don't have any other choice but to forgive you. And I said, I want you to understand that because I met you today and that I have, in fact, forgiven you, I don't hold any bitterness, any resentment towards you, that there will be consequences that you'll have to pay. I said, I'm not the only one that's involved here. There's several other people involved. I said, so you'll have to pay the consequences. I told him, I said, were you angry? He said, I was very angry. I said, why? He said, well, I know this is probably not of any importance to you, but he said, I'm very particular about my yard. I said, I see. I encouraged he and his wife and his daughter to get involved maybe in a church to where they could have some support, because I told him, I said, I feel like you're going to need it. Then my pastor related the story of Job to me in the Bible. He said, do you remember in the story of Job where Job lost everything? And at that time I felt like, and I still feel today, that I've truly lost everything. She was my only daughter. I'd been a single parent since she was 11 days old. We were real close. We did everything together. We prayed together. We read the Word together. We went to church together. We did everything together. It was a tremendous loss in my life. And when my pastor told me that, he said, Marcia, he said, I understand you've forgiven, but he said, the thing about it is, he said, when Job prayed for his friends. He said, then God restored him. And he said, can you pray for the Tompkins? I said, yes, I can. I went over by Brett, and I prayed with Brett. I prayed with his wife, and I prayed with his daughter. And then in turn, my pastor asked the Tompkins, said, can you bless Marcia? And both of the Tompkins, Mr. and Mrs. Tompkins, said, God bless you, Marcia. And then at that time, his daughter prayed for me. I, at that time, excused myself and left and went back home.
There is going to be cross-examination of this witness. Even those of you without law degrees are probably sitting there wondering how is it she is able to talk at length the way she did, and perhaps an objection at some point would have been difficult to be made by the defense. Our defense attorney here seems to feel that some of what she's saying is helpful, but this woman has filed a wrongful death civil suit against Brett Tompkins, Ashley Best, the driver of the car where her daughter was killed, as well as Ashley's father for allowing Ashley behind the wheel of a car. We're going to hear her say something interesting on cross-examination right after this.
On the next Crier Live.
The circumstances surrounding the disappearance of teenager Elizabeth Smart has investigators knocking on as many doors as possible. Our coverage continues.
Catherine Crier Live, today at 5, only on Court TV.
Court TV's turning red, white, and all blue with a 2-day marathon.
That don't sound too bad.
First, an entire day of movies featuring the stars of NYPD Blue. Then it's Detective Simone's final season. Join me all day, July 4th and 5th, only on Court TV.
I can't believe this.
After everything we've taught you.
My own daughter, getting her tongue pierced without shopping around for the best price.
Our customers know the importance of shopping around, because at Progressive.com you can get our price for car insurance plus the rates of other big-name companies.
Your brother got a good deal on his body piercing.
You could save hundreds. Call Progressive today.
Attention. Wait, Mr. Osborne, last seat at the computer store. Please come to Lost and Found. Your family's here. Quite the computer quagmire out there, isn't it, Mr. O? I see this all the time. Anywho, sir, there are people who can help you find your way, like the folks at Dell. Just call or go online. They'll guide you along so you can get exactly what you need in a PC. No more, no less. Yep, with Dell, you get the right PC at the right price. Daddy! All in a day's work, folks.
Right now, you can get a Dimension desktop for just $749, featuring an Intel Pentium 4 processor that delivers awesome performance for today's digital media, music, photos, gaming, and beyond. And right now, for a limited time, you'll get free shipping. There's great deals on notebooks, too.
Dude, you're getting it. Dell.
Easy to buy, easy to own, easy as Dell. Dell PCs use Intel Pentium 4 processors.
You flip, but they flop. Now your pancakes are a mess, and all that butter and fat to cook them. There's got to be a better way. Introducing the Perfect Pancake, the world's first spatula-free pancake maker. Just pour in your favorite batter, close the handle, and flip it. Presto, a golden brown pancake with no mess and no added fat. Now flip delicious blueberry, fluffy apple cinnamon, or mouth-watering buttermilk flapjacks. Fast, easy, and without using a spatula. Oh no, you broke the yolk again. But watch what happens with the Perfect Pancake. 3 eggs over easy without ever breaking a yolk. Call now and get the Perfect Pancake for only $19.95. You'll also receive this heart-shaped pancake ring for a Valentine's treat or a birthday breakfast free. Call right now and receive this no-drip batter dispenser free. This incredible offer is all yours for just $19.95. Call now.
Call 1-800-582-2992 to order your Perfect Pancake for just $19.95. Make perfect pancakes and eggs without breaking the yolk. Call now.
Wednesday. A rich older man marries a poor but beautiful younger woman.
Stan Cohen made Joyce Cohen a socialite.
Add in the cocaine, the parties, and the infidelities.
Stanley told her, you'll go out of this marriage the same way you came in, with nothing.
And it's a recipe for a disaster.
911, what's your emergency?
Is it a robbery, a drug hit, a vengeful spouse, or maybe all three?
Dominic Dunn's Power, Privilege, and Justice. Wednesday at 10, only on Court TV.
Marsha Karen is the mother of one of the victims, the 3 girls who lost their lives as a result of this car accident. Leslie was her daughter's name. Marsha has filed a civil wrongful lawsuit against Brent Tonkin, as well as Ashley Best, the driver of the car, and her father. Now cross-examination from the defense.
This meeting that was set up at your preacher's office?
Yes.
Do you know who set that up?
It's my understanding that Mr. Tonkin himself set it up.
How did he know to, do you know how he knew to contact your preacher?
I do.
And who was that?
Valerie Smith.
Valerie Smith was she an acquaintance or a friend of yours?
No, I never met her.
Okay. But at any rate, she got in contact with somebody that got in contact with you
yes.
regarding this. Okay. And who was at this meeting? Do you know?
The one with the Tonkins?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Tonkin, Mrs. Tonkin, their daughter, myself, and Pastor Rawson and Gwen Carlin.
Okay. So Mr. and Mrs. Tonkin were there?
Yes.
And his daughter as well was there? Sabrina.
Yes.
Do you recall a point in time when Sabrina was hyperventilating and had to leave the room and Margaret followed her?
I do.
And do you know what precipitated that?
If my memory serves me correctly, it was after the statement that I made to him that I felt like that he caused the accident and he in fact killed my daughter.
Okay. Did you ever make the statement that he must have been abused as a child?
I did.
Okay. And was it after that particular statement that she left the room?
I don't remember.
Okay. Were you, did he try to reach out to you on that particular meeting?
No.
He didn't? He was attending the meeting. You were called to that meeting, were you not?
Right.
Okay. And he was voluntarily there. Nobody told him to come there, to your knowledge, did they?
I don't know what he was told.
Okay. But anyway, he was there voluntarily. Nobody forced him to go to that meeting, were they?
I would suppose it. I don't know why he was there.
And so was his wife. You say the preacher was there as well as his wife?
Yes.
Okay. On that particular night, did your daughter tell you where she was going that night?
On the night of the accident? Yes, she did.
And what did she say?
Pardon me?
What did she tell you?
She said that they were going to the Bartows to have a spend-the-night party.
Okay. And did she tell you anything about rolling a yard?
She did.
And did she say who would be driving?
Mrs. Bartow.
Mrs. Bartow was going to drive the vehicle while they rolled the yard?
That's what she said.
Okay. You also brought a civil lawsuit against Ashley Best?
I did.
Okay. And would you have had a problem with her riding with Ashley Best?
I would have.
And why is that?
Because Ashley had only been driving a short period of time.
Okay. And do you know how long Ashley had been driving?
Not exactly.
Certainly one of the things I was struck by when rereading on this case is that these girls were even allowed to be in the car as sophomores, 15, 16 years old that time of night. There are many states, including here in New York, where you would have to be supervised by a licensed driver, an adult, and they have since changed the law in Georgia as a result, a few months after this, to make it much more difficult for teenagers of this age, 16 and younger, who have a license to drive, to be unsupervised between 1 a.m. p.m. and 5 a.m. Now, our email is very interesting, Ernie. Let me tell you that we have someone from Paul telling us this guy let his anger get the best of him. Chasing those girls was a ridiculous act, more ridiculous than what the girls did. And yet now he's facing charges. He said you can't run if you cannot run if you're not being chased. But this is a situation where these girls just should not have run.
Well, they should have run. It was a prank, but frankly, the question is about the severity of the reaction. If I were to smack you, you're allowed to smack me back. You're not allowed to take out a knife, a gun, or other lethal objects, such as a car, to do against me much greater than I did to you. So I think everybody expected them to run. It's what kids do all the time. No one expected this man, who obviously cared a lot about his yard, get so angry that he would pursue and pursue to their death.
For you, Bob, though, we have somebody who is talking about a person protecting his home. The girls put many people's lives in danger, not just their own, but by running from their crime, but the lives of others in this high-speed chase.
I don't think you can argue with that. I think that the defendant and the girls both acted stupidly. And there's no question about it. There's no question about it that the defendant regretted doing it, and there's no question about it that when the girls were in the middle of this chase, they were regretting it too. Everyone involved in this thing was stupid, and it's a horrendous situation, but it did not wind up being, in my view, criminal.
If everyone was stupid, no one should face any charges?
Well, let's put it this way. It seems to me that when you have someone in your car, caused is the big word here. Caused is the operative word in the homicide statute. Something has to cause the death. And the question is, did the defendant's action in speeding and going through the stop signs cause the death? I suggest the answer to that is no. Did the driver of the car who smacked into the tree, who drove without her lights on at high rates of speed recklessly, did she cause the deaths? I think the answer is yes.
But she would not have been doing that.
Yeah, okay, but we have to just take a break. Let me just say, though, that this has aroused a great deal of passion from viewers, and as we're going to see in our 13th juror question, people are telling us in Georgia that it's not unusual to see this toilet papering, and that many property owners do run out and chase to defend their property. We're inviting you to be our 13th juror and have a say on issues relating to the cases we cover. Just log on to courttv.com and answer today's question. Do you think Tonkin should have been charged? 42% say yes, but 58% are not convinced. We'll turn to testimony from the defendant's wife. She was in the truck with him that night, right after this short break.
Court TV's turning red, white, and all blue with a 2-day marathon.
That don't sound too bad.
First, an entire day of movies featuring the stars of NYPD Blue. Then it's Detective Simone's final season. Join me all day, July 4th and 5th, only on Court TV.
To catch a killer, he'll use instinct.
He used a drawstring to steady his shot.
Insight.
I'm thinking somebody approached the car, started washing the window, and then attacked him.
And a whole lot of Kleenex.
I'm told you're germophobic, afraid of the dark, heights, crowds, and milk. We're working on the milk.
Tony Shalhoub is Monk, brilliant detective.
I don't suppose you're going to be able to prove any of this.
Are you sure?
Major issues. Series premieres July 12th at 9, only on USA.
I've always loved working on computers, and in the Army, that's what I do.
If you never thought about the U.S. Army or Army Reserve, think about this. There are 212 ways for you to become a soldier and work at a job you'll love. Call for this free video to find out which job is right for you. And if you call 1-800-645-ARMY right now, you'll also receive a free Army t-shirt with your video. Discover the 212 ways you can be an Army of One.
Can I get life insurance at my age, in my health?
I'd like to leave my loved ones with a little something when I'm gone, but I'm afraid I'm too old to get life insurance.
If you're like these nice folks and thought life insurance after 45 was impossible to get or impossible to afford, I've got good news. If you're 45 to 79, Physicians Life guarantees you up to $10,000 of permanent modified whole life insurance, designed to help your family with the expenses they will face. You cannot be turned down because of your health. You can buy this insurance policy if you're 45 to 79 and you're insured for life. No questions asked. Just $1 pays for your first full month of protection. After that, you can continue at a monthly renewal rate that can never go up. Plus, your coverage can never be canceled because of your age or health. Easy to get and easy to afford. Now let me tell you why this protection is so important. All of us someday may leave behind expenses for our loved ones to pay. There's no escaping it. These expenses can easily add up to thousands of dollars. You know, some people even expect the government to take care of these expenses. But the fact is, Social Security currently pays a death benefit of just $255, and only if you qualify. That's why I urge you to take a look at this coverage. It's one sure way you can help leave your loved ones with dollars instead of debts. I'm proud to be their paid spokesman. This is one phone call your loved ones will be thankful for later. So call right now.
To get your free information kit directly by mail, call toll-free 1-800-216-8181. There's no cost or obligation. You're just calling for information. That's 1-800-216-8181.
We're here when you need us. Physicians Live.
Tonight on Court TV, at 8, NYPD Blue, at 9, Forensic Files, and at 10, Mugshots. Join the investigation on Court TV.
You know you were scared, but you don't know what of.
Well, I mean, I know I was scared of the pickup truck. I'm sure I was. And I was scared of what would happen if everybody in my car got caught rolling a house.
This high school girl, Ashley Best, has already taken responsibility, and she's been taken to task for her role in a car wreck that killed 3 of her friends. Welcome back here to Court TV on both sides. I'm Sheila Steinbeck in for Ricky Kleeman. Ashley Best was the driver. Prosecutors charged Best as a juvenile, and she pled guilty to felony vehicular homicide. She was sentenced to 2 years probation and community service. Another person has also been tried for the killings, and it will be up to a jury to decide whether that person, Brett Tonkin, was also responsible for those deaths. He pursued Best's car after the high schoolers covered his property in toilet paper. Tonkin says he stopped following the car before it hit a tree. Now, as we return to the courtroom, prosecutors have called the defendant's wife to the stand. She was with him that night in his pickup truck and will give her version, Margaret Tonkin.
Margaret, there's, do you recall a hill?
Oh, yes, there's a hill. There's 2 hills on it.
Okay, but you recall the first hill that you went right after the Rockbridge stop sign going up that hill?
Right, that's a big climb.
Okay, and was your vehicle behind that other vehicle that you referred to, the white vehicle?
Right.
Okay, and do you recall what speed they were going, what speed you might have been going?
They were going slow. In my, it just seemed like, well, yeah, they were just going up that hill. And just, I would say probably about at least a speed limit of 5 miles more. That's it.
Okay, so 25, 30 miles an hour or something like that. It was 25 is the posted speed limit, is there? Okay.
But if you're going up the climb, you don't really go fast anyway.
And so they went over the hill, and then what happened?
Well, we were able to get that tag number.
Okay.
Well, sort of able. It wasn't.
Why did you want to get that tag number?
Because right back here it said they were with me. We didn't know who was
Okay.
in those vehicles.
You thought that vehicle was part
right.
of the rolling as well.
Right.
Okay. You got that tag number.
Right.
All right. And what did they do? What did that vehicle do?
Well, turned on this road, and I find out later this is Chapman Lane. Turned into there about to the first mailbox.
Okay. You're saying that vehicle actually turned into Chapman Lane?
Because they were stopped and they turned around. I guess wanted to know what was going on. If we were going to follow them. I don't know. I think there were facts as to what we were doing.
All right. And so what did you do at that point?
Then we proceeded on up the road.
Okay.
Just stop.
When was the last time that you recall seeing the blue vehicle that you referred to?
When it got around here, because
that white car got between us and
Okay,
was slower pace.
For the record, when you're saying when it turned, it got around here, where are we saying?
Around when it turned around, making a right-hand turn onto Chapman from Rockridge.
Okay. And so why did you proceed down, or why did Brett proceed down Chapman Drive?
Where else would you go? You go down the road.
Okay. Did you think that the vehicle was down that particular road?
That's where we assumed it would be.
Okay. Okay. Did Brett turn off of onto Wood Forest Road, make a left turn on Wood Forest Road?
No, sir.
Okay. He never made that turn onto Wood Forest Road. Okay. Did you take down, where did you put the tag number that you're referring to on the white vehicle? Did you?
I started to write it on my leg as well. It just wasn't going through. When I passed the light out off the street light, and then I had to transpose it onto my left leg, and that's when it, so that.
Okay. But and you got the tag number on the left leg? Is that what you're saying?
I started to write it on my right, and it wasn't going through. I had to write it on my left.
Okay. And
I got it on my left. Right. I got the whole license.
And all this time, Brett is proceeding down Chapman Drive?
Right.
Okay. Is there some point in time that you recall seeing some taillights?
Yes. The only place that you can is when you come up to this next hill.
Okay.
There's a hill here somewhere.
And that hill you're referring to?
I'm not sure if it's right around on this turn or before it. There's a ridge or something.
Okay, is that prior to Scott Road?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And as you crest that hill and get over it, what did you see?
We saw taillights here.
You saw taillights?
Taillights, just the corner of it as it got past.
And it was going on Scott Road?
Right, it was headed down this road.
Okay. Did you...
Just for a split second, because it disappeared from there's a house there.
Okay. Did you have any idea of what that vehicle was or what it might have been?
No. We
Okay.
were assuming.
You were assuming what?
That was the blue car.
Okay.
Well, people are pretty angry on both sides where this case is concerned. Thus, the show Both Sides is one person who feels that he has let loose his anger get the best of him. Paul's saying this, as we said earlier, and that you should not use the defense of your property in order to go after people in such a reckless way. But someone also suggests that it would be appropriate for prosecutors to serve the sentence when they seek to find a person guilty on a charge like that, and this prosecutor should serve the sentence when that person is found not guilty, because they think this is a ridiculous charge to be brought. That from Neil. Let's take a look more now. This is the defense witness, by the way. She was being questioned by Jim Hogan, the defense attorney. Let's go now to the next tape as she continues. Margaret Tonkin.
You got to the stop sign on Scott Road.
Right.
And you had this feeling, and you told him to turn left on Scott Road. Is that correct?
I just told him, I just said, just go down this road. And I remember he just kind of looked at me like, I don't know.
All right.
Like
you can resume this. How far did you go down Scott Road?
How far did we go?
Yes, ma'am.
Till we came upon, what we saw was just a tail light.
Okay. And did you stop at that time?
Oh, yes.
Okay. And, well, what did you say?
Well, Brett says, oh my God, they wrecked. Which, we pulled alongside of the vehicle. It was in the trees.
Okay.
And you pull alongside on that road, and we ask, is everybody okay? And
Did you get out of the car?
Yes. I was the first one to get, because I'm on that side.
All right. And did Brett get out of the car?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what did you do?
Try to get the door open.
All right. You're talking about the driver's side door?
Yes.
Were you able to get that door open?
No.
What did Brett do at that time?
He tried to get that door open, too.
Was he able to get that door open?
No.
What happened then?
At that time, I felt like my husband, since he just seemed like he tuned it out. You know, he just... and it seems like that's when I felt like I just took over. He says, well...
Did he kind of lose control at that time?
Yes, he did.
All right, what did he do? Do you remember at all?
Well, he was concerned about we're gonna have to call 911. I already told him I was gonna go up that hill. There's a house up on that hill that had the lights on. I was gonna make the phone call, and initially I had wanted him to stay with me, but he said I haven't even got my license, and I saw that he was not there, and I felt like I needed to send him to go do something. So I told him, go home and get your license and get my robe. I says, I'm going to come up here and call 911.
Okay. Did you have any medical training?
No, sir.
All right. So did you go up to that house?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And Brett left at that time?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Do you recall which way he left?
Continued on down the road.
Okay. You went up to the house. You said the closest house, there was a house up on the hill?
Up on the hill, yes. There was, the lights were on there. There was like a utility van or work truck that was there. I knocked on that door. There was a dog there. I was not knocking. I was actually almost banging at the door trying to get someone to answer so that they can call for help.
All right. Were you able to get anyone at that house?
No.
What did you do then?
I went back down to their driveway, and I was going to try the next house that's there. But they had a fence, and the dog was outside, and it seemed like the dog didn't seem like he was happy to see me. So and then I said, well, maybe I should pass this house up. And then I ran across a gentleman, just out of the blue, well, out of darkness, actually. He come out in the street. He was wearing dark clothes. I didn't even spot him until I was just right on me. Okay. And I said, you need to call help. Call for help.
We later learned that that's Mr. Castro, don't we?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so what happened at that point?
Well, he went on back to his home to call 911, and then shortly afterwards, we had another car come down Scott Road. And it was a lady and an older gentleman. Okay. They said they had heard it, and was coming around to help. Okay. And I sent them also to call 911.
All right. And then what did you do then?
By that time, one of the girls had gotten out of the car.
Okay.
And I don't know how she got out. You couldn't open the door, but she was out of the vehicle.
Okay. Did you talk to her?
She was, well, basically she was just going, I didn't start a conversation. She was just going, where are we? Where are we? And she was talking, she was saying, Ashley, where are we? Where are we?
And what happened after that?
I remember another car coming up from the other direction, and this was two younger gentlemen. And the girl that was out of the car, you know, we already knew. They said they had a car phone in that car, but we had already contacted 911. She wanted to call her mom.
And you have to just think that the jury in this trial is putting themselves, male and female, in the roles of these two people, the Tonkins. How much outrage would they have felt? Do they understand that this was the last straw? The sense of cleaning up for the third time, and how, if it ended this tragically, did they go too far with their anger in trying to find out who these girls were? As we go to a break, I want to remind everyone that court is in recess today in the trial of David Westerfield. Westerfield is charged with the kidnapping and murder of 7-year-old Danielle Van Dam of San Diego. Court TV will bring you live coverage of this capital murder trial when it resumes tomorrow. We'll be right back.
Tonight on Mugshots, he was a beloved and respected rabbi.
He had great insight and was a dynamic teacher.
Until...
The charge is capital murder, Your Honor.
How did a man of God
I think he's capable of anything.
Become a devil in disguise.
We as a family sought only justice.
I categorically deny that I murdered my wife.
Fred Newlander.
A rabbi sitting on death row.
On Mugshots. Tonight at 10 on Court TV.
It's tough not having a car. With immediate claim service, Geico gets you back on the road fast. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Attention! The IRS has issued a warning that all assets and Social Security benefits can be levied. If you have any unresolved back-owed taxes, the IRS can now seize your bank account, home, car, and even cut your Social Security. The law offices of Ronnie Deutsch will fight the IRS and settle back-owed taxes, levies, liens, payroll taxes, and penalties for just pennies on the dollar and get your Social Security restored.
Call the law office of Ronnie Deutsch at 800-217-2130 for a free and confidential tax analysis. That's 800-217-2130.
Cancer.
The doctor walked into the room and said, "You have cancer, and it's inoperable. You have only 6 months to live." So I turned to my wife and said, 33 years together is not enough. So I decided to fight, and I started looking for options. Our daughter, who is a nurse, told me about Cancer Treatment Centers of America. It's like no hospital you've ever seen. They treated me, the whole person, not just my tumor, with the latest medical technology, nutrition, and supplements to stimulate my immune system to fight my cancer.
To find out about alternative treatment options at our hospitals, call toll-free 1-800-234-2457.
It's been 7 years now. I beat cancer, and so can you.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America, winning the fight against cancer every day.
Acid reflux disease can really upset your plans.
You never know when to expect it.
The burn can stop you in your tracks.
You worry about the risk of long-term problems.
I got help. Learn to handle the disease and the risks in ways that make sense for me.
Call this number now for information and a free kit from Prevacid, a handbook on managing acid reflux disease and its risks, a risk alert profiler, a guide to making the most of your next doctor visit, and a 7-day free trial certificate to use if your doctor decides Prevacid is right for you. Prevacid fights acid reflux disease 3 ways. It beats the burn, helps heal the damage, and best of all, staying on Prevacid if prescribed can stop the damage from coming back. Prevacid has a low occurrence of side effects such as diarrhea, abdominal pain, and nausea. So if you want the power to manage the risks, heal the damage, and stay healed, call now for your free kit.
To most people, a wad of gum, but to a forensic odontologist, a critical piece of evidence revealing age, nationality, even genetic profile. Find out how on Forensic Files. Tonight at 9 and 9:30, only on Court TV.
So the defense has called the wife of the defendant. Margaret Tonkin is continuing on the stand describing when the police arrive.
I remember help coming. There was a police car, and I was thinking, why are the police here? They need paramedics. You know, somebody I didn't know at the time, but he was qualified to do the job anyway.
That was Mr. Castro, wasn't it?
Well, Mr. Castro had come back since then. He got up on the roof somewhere. No, I'm talking about the first police car.
Did you know the condition of those women in the vehicle?
No. Not at that time.
And at some point in time, they took a statement of both you and Brett at the scene.
Yes, sir.
Did you know the condition of the women at that?
No. I think somebody was trying to spare me that.
Okay. And you later learned?
Yes, I did.
Margaret, that road, the Scott Road, It's, would you say it's a fairly dark road as you go down?
Yes.
Okay. And was your vehicle directly behind that vehicle at that point where you saw them in the ditch?
No, didn't see him. Rick, didn't hear him.
While they were in the yard.
I'm sorry?
While the people were in your yard, were you able to tell anything about them, their sex, their
I didn't see the kids in the yard.
You didn't see the kids in the yard?
They were already gone by the time I come out.
At any time before the wreck, were you able to tell the age or the sex of the driver?
No, and I had asked the officer, you know, I didn't even know how many was in there. And I didn't even know what sex there was in there. And I was just aghast when I found out how young they were. That there was only one 16-year-old. Everybody else was 15 years old.
You've already testified that you had contacted the parent regarding the particular yard roll.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And yet this happened, you know, within a month afterwards. Why did you feel that one tag number was not enough?
We didn't know this was going to happen. We didn't know, you know, we felt like contacting a parent would have sit there and stopped that.
So we have gone through perhaps dozens of emails so far, and I found exactly 4, Ernie, that find that Brett Tonkin should be held responsible for this, that as an adult he should have acted like an adult in this situation.
Well, the key, what you said, is held responsible. That's why we have a jury system in America. The prosecutor is presented with a set of facts that indicate criminality. The jury ultimately, the community ultimately decides, yes, this is criminal, no, it's not. So I think given the facts, yes, he should have been charged.
I must say, and Ricky on the show has certainly pointed this out several times, that our 13th juror, you, the audience, certainly comes very close to the way juries will sometimes see this. And I think, put aside the law and what it's describing, Bob, we seem to be getting a sense now, although it's close in the 13th juror voting, but at least from the email, there seems to be very little sympathy for this prosecution of Brent Tonkin.
It's very interesting because I think that he did not engage in criminal conduct, but I think that he should have been charged. So, in other words, I'm a criminal defense attorney, and I think that maybe the only way to have this all play out is to have him be charged.
Because people have to sit there on a jury and think that if I find this guy guilty, then that means if I give chase on somebody who comes maybe and throws paint or burns a cross on my lawn or does something else untoward, that if that person is drunk when they drive away and happen to kill someone else, including people in their car, that because I'm innocently trying to get at what was done to my property, I could be charged with murder.
Well, and ultimately that may be why the jury, you know, decides to let him off the hook. On the other hand, then the government really has done its job. If that's the message, if the community down there and everyone watching out there, you know, thinks twice now, or looks at the circumstances and says, oh, wow, look, this could happen to me, then maybe the charging decision is right. I mean, maybe the best of both worlds will be have that message get out and have the verdict be not guilty.
Something we need to keep in mind is that when you charge someone in a grand jury or a preliminary hearing, it's simply probable cause to believe that a crime was committed. At trial is beyond a reasonable doubt. Right. And that's what the jury gets to decide. So again, the charging decision is very different than the finding of guilt. And ultimately, the community, your community, perhaps this jury will agree that although enough to charge, not enough to convict.
Yeah, they'll all sit there and say, well, this has happened to all of us. I would have done the same thing he did. But now I know that if I do, I should probably assess the situation a little bit more
Right, and there are a lot of other variables. I mean, whether or not it's appropriate to send this man to jail for what the girl does probation for, whether or not he's truly sorry. And you see him crying all the time.
Right, that's the tough thing, and it has not done anything wrong, so they are really looking at a peer as they stare across the courtroom. Well, be sure to catch Catherine Cryer live at 5 o'clock. Investigators in Salt Lake City, Utah, and in Milwaukee are stymied this afternoon over the case of 2 missing children. Has the trail gone cold in the search for Elizabeth Smart and Alexis Patterson? Catherine will have the very latest. Plus, a Michigan woman is under arrest for murder after allegedly leaving her 2 children to die in her car while she had her hair being done. Catherine takes a closer look at this first-degree murder charge. All that and more coming up at 5 o'clock on Catherine Cryer Live.
On the next NYPD Blue.
Kid got shot in the schoolyard. Caught him in the can trying to dump this into the toilet.
If you think that I'm trying to protect him in any way, you can kiss my French-Portuguese ass.
NYPD Blue, tonight at 8 on Court TV.
Missed it again. Well, hello. Yeah, she's interested. She's definitely interested. Creep. Who says you don't meet beautiful women on the bus? Who says you need a car to get noticed? Who says you need good credit? I'm doing just fine.
Want to get off the bus? Call 1-800-APPROVE. Get the loan and get on with life.
I've loved you all my life. He had the perfect life. What's happening? Now, with a single touch, he sees what no one else can. Somebody help her! The Dead Zone. Sundays at 10. Premieres June 16 on USA Network.
Oh, those ugly weeds. You bend and yank. Now your back is about to crack. Then the weeds just keep growing back. Not anymore. Introducing D-Weeder, the revolutionary way to pull out weeds and their roots while you're standing. Watch. D-Weeder removes the weed and the root every time. Just attach it to any standard drill. Then easily spin out weeds from your flower bed. Quickly pull out weeds from decorative rocks, or spin out weeds next to a cactus and never get stuck again. Whether it's gravel driveways, potted plants, or vines on a fence, D-Weeder pulls the weed and their roots while you're standing. So stop breaking your back. Call now and receive the amazing D-Weeder for just $19.95. We'll also include these powerful pruning shears free. And here's a super value. Call right now and we'll double your order free. Together, they're a $60 value, all yours for only $19.95. So call now.
Call 1-800-319-6363 and order the D-Weeder for just $19.95 plus $6.95 shipping. You'll easily remove weeds while standing, so call now.
I can't believe I waited so long to ask my doctor. It was just a couple of toenails, except they were all sick-like and yellow.
I tried treating it myself from the outside. Nothing worked. So finally, I just asked him. You know what he told me? It's an infection.
An infection? One that lives deep inside and under the nail.
He told me about Lamisil tablets. It's a prescription medicine that treats it deep in there where the infection lives, not just on the surface. Nails it from the inside out. And it's the #1 prescription for this infection.
After 3 months of treatment, I saw clear nails starting to grow.
I saved $5 just by calling for this free kit.
Lamisil isn't for people with liver or kidney problems. Rarely, serious side effects on the liver or serious skin reactions have occurred, so your doctor may do blood tests. Other side effects, including headache, diarrhea, indigestion, and rash, were generally mild.
Hey, you can't treat this yourself from the outside. You gotta see the doctor and ask him if Lamisil tablets are right for you.
Lamisil tablets. Call now for your free kit and $5 savings.
Tonight on Court TV at 8, NYPD Blue. At 9, Forensic Files. And at 10, Mugshots. Join the investigation on Court TV.
Well, you have been listening to Mrs. Tonkin on the witness stand describing her version of the event, and now there's cross-examination from the prosecutor, Barry Morgan.
Did y'all stand there and discuss what you were going to do? I believe you said that he kind of went blank at that point. What did y'all do after you tried to get the door open?
Well, I sit there and I sent him home because he was concerned about police coming there and he didn't have this license with him.
Okay, so the discussion, did that take place beside the car, or did y'all go back up on the hill?
Beside the car, our car.
Beside your car. So you came back up the hill and you had that discussion beside the pickup truck.
Right.
Okay. He didn't have his driver's license.
No.
Okay. And he wanted to go back home and get his driver's license.
Right.
Was there any discussion?
Well, he didn't want to. I wanted to send him on. He was concerned about people coming in. They're going to need to ID him, and he didn't have it with him.
All right. And so you told him to go home and get your robe?
Yes.
And then what did he do?
Then he got on the truck and went on.
He went back. Were you standing on your side of the passenger side of the pickup truck?
Right.
And he went back around the other side and got in the driver's side?
Right.
And he left?
Right.
How soon after he left did you go up the hill to the little blockhouse?
As soon as he was gone, he was headed out. I was running up the hill.
Okay. What, did you have shoes on?
No.
You were in your bare feet?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How long do you think it took you to get up to the blockhouse?
It was just running. I didn't think it took any much time because I was just running straight up the hill. I wasn't even winded. I was surprised that I wasn't even winded.
It's a pretty steep hill, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Pretty nasty driveway with rocks and.
Well,
and
I didn't go up the driveway. I went straight up in the grass.
You went up the grass.
Right.
Okay. And you didn't find anybody at home?
The lights was on. There was dog barking.
Inside the house?
Inside the house. And I was knocking, hoping either it was me or the dog was going to wake somebody up.
And then you came back down the hill?
When I stayed there for a little while to see if anybody would answer.
How long do you think you stood there for a while?
Times, it seems like at that time, it just seems everything was going, to me, a little slower than I want. You know, I knew I wanted to get aid there, and we had no car phone, no means to get it. But that was going to be my job to call 911 up on that hill.
It was going to be your job to call 911?
Yes, I told him I'll go up there and call 911 because that would be the closest way to call.
So you didn't find anybody home there?
No.
And you came back down the hill. That took some time as well.
Right.
And then what did you do?
I was gonna, a house adjacent sits actually further down, but it was darker. The lights was not on that one. But they had a dog out in the pen. There's
a fence in that yard, and the dog stays sort of in the, as you're looking up, it's in the right-hand side of the fence.
Well, he was barking and carrying on.
And he kind of yaps every time somebody comes close.
Right.
And so you didn't go up to that house?
Well, no. I just started to go. Well, I didn't go up in it, but at that time, that's when the gentleman.
And that's when you saw Mr. Castro?
Castro.
You had walked up the roadway some distance.
Right, before past the
you saw
house.
him.
Past the house.
How long do you think it took you to walk up the roadway?
I'm not sure. Times are just not good for me as far as.
But it took you some time to do that?
Well, no, not really. I mean, I was just trying to get aid. And then he just come out of the darkness. He just sat there and he said he had heard something. I'm not sure what he had heard.
Okay.
And I told him, call 911, please.
When did Megan get out of the car?
Somewhere when I was with Mr. Castro.
When you were with Mr. Castro?
Because when I came back to the vehicle, she was out of it.
She was out of it then. Did you see what she did when she got out of the car?
I don't know how she got out.
You don't know how she got out? That wasn't my question. Did you see what she did after she got out of the car?
She was just walking around in the street.
Okay, But you didn't see her get out of the car. I believe that's what you just said. So you don't know what she did.
After she got out, but she was on the road when I came out.
Okay.
Came back to the car.
You weren't standing across the roadway saying, stupid kids, stupid kids, stupid, stupid kids, were you?
Oh, my God, no.
You weren't saying that?
No.
Okay.
I can't believe.
Well, you have to look at her and think that this was a shock hearing this. You could also cynically say, was this a shock hearing her words come back to her in court? Or, my goodness, I didn't say that. Prosecutor, of course, is going to have to do something with that litany if he's going to reveal it to her and the jury, if he hasn't already. Let's go down to the Court TV News Center with an update on the day's legal news with Vinnie Politan.
Hello again, I'm Vinnie Politan with the latest from the Court TV News Center. U.S. aircraft attacked a village today while a wedding was underway, killing and injuring scores of people. The exact number of dead is not yet known. U.S. officials said an AC-130 gunship and a B-52 launched an attack after American forces came under fire. The attack lasted some 2 hours. One official in the southern Afghan province said Afghans had been firing weapons during the wedding, a common practice. U.S. military investigators have been sent to the area. President Bush promoted his so-called compassionate conservative agenda in Cleveland today. The trip comes just a few days after the Supreme Court endorsed a 6-year-old school voucher program in Cleveland's inner city.
We're interested in aiming toward excellence for every child. And the voucher system is a part of the strategy to achieve that here in Cleveland.
The president has been a staunch advocate of vouchers and emphasized them during his campaign for the White House. A judge in New York has ruled that the federal death penalty is unconstitutional. The ruling maintains that the federal death penalty law violates due process rights of defendants. The judge wrote, evidence showed that innocent people are sentenced to death much more often than previously thought. The decision, however, does not have any bearing on state death penalty laws. New evidence suggests there are still gaping holes in airport security systems. USA Today reports that screeners at 32 of the country's largest airports failed to detect 1 in 4 fake weapons last month. The undercover tests were conducted by the Transportation Security Administration. They were the first since the agency started overseeing checkpoint screening in February. And we'll be back with more news right after this.
If you have diabetes, you've probably handled thousands of test strips. But no more, thanks to the AccuCheck compact meter. Just drop in a drum containing 17 test strips. Press the button and you're ready. 17 consecutive tests and no handling strips. What could be clearer? The AccuCheck compact meter. Look for the one with the drum.
A closed-door hearing will determine what happens next in the trial of David Westerfield, the man accused of murdering 7-year-old Danielle Van Dam in San Diego. Westerfield faces the death penalty if convicted. Joining us now live from outside the San Diego courthouse is Court TV's Beth Karras. Good afternoon, Beth.
Hello, Vinny. Well, that hearing is still going on. It's a little frustrating because we can't be in there. It's closed to the public and to the press. However, it does appear that people are testifying. Witnesses are being called, and more than one witness. We were under the impression that it has to do with the prosecution's effort to call one last witness, but in order to do so, it appears more than one person is testifying. Also, defense lawyers who are seemingly unrelated to the case are showing up, perhaps representing some of these people who are testifying. Some of them seem to be experts, but that hearing is still going on. Perhaps we will find out by the end of the day what the judge's ruling is, or get some insight into what is going on behind those closed doors right now.
Well, Beth, we're getting close to the defense case now. Tell us what we can expect when the defense does start to put in their evidence.
The defense case will probably begin at some point tomorrow. If not tomorrow morning, then probably by the afternoon. Now, we don't know how long it will be. Defense cases are traditionally much, much shorter than a prosecution's case. We can expect to hear from a couple of experts. At least the lead attorney, Steve Feldman, has alluded to perhaps an expert in computers to deal with the child pornography issue, as well as an expert in insects, a forensic entomologist, because the defense seems to be heading to an area that has really not been explored too much by the prosecution, and that is the stage of development of the insects in and around the body of Danielle Van Dam. An expert may conclude that her body was placed where it was found sometime after February 4th. Now, that is the date that Westerfield was first questioned by the police, and he was under surveillance from that time on until he was arrested on February 22nd. So the defense may try to argue that he could not have placed her body there if the insect development is such that it doesn't support the prosecution's position that the body could have been there from that weekend when she went missing.
It really has to be a difficult time for the Van Dam parents. How are they dealing with the trial so far?
Well, you know, Vinny, they testified in the very first week of the trial, which was the first week of June. And from the time they completed their testimony, they have been permitted in the courtroom and have chosen to be there most of the time, except for difficult witnesses where they, photos of their daughter and the recovery site were shown. But for the most part, they've been in the courtroom until a week ago. Damon Van Dam was there, but a week ago, right after the lunch hour, he was not only kicked out of the courtroom, but out of the courthouse for the remainder of the trial. And that is because apparently the judge said he had had it. He was fed up with Damon Van Dam's behavior. He's apparently been forewarned before to behave himself, although I saw nothing wrong in his behavior in the courtroom. Things were happening outside the courtroom. It's been reported that a deputy sheriff claims Damon Van Dam was asking him about the specifics of Westerfield's transport from a holding cell to the courtroom. And that was enough to pose a security risk, and hence he's been banned from the building, at least until verdict time.
Interesting. Okay, Beth Karras reporting live from San Diego. Thank you, and stay tuned to Court TV. We'll have updates throughout the day and continued live coverage of the trial all day tomorrow. Well, that's all for now from the Court TV News Center. I'm Vinny Politan. Let's take you back to both sides with Sheila Steinbach in the studio. Sheila.
Thanks so much, Vinny. We'll rejoin news breaks in an hour. Let's return to the case that we began covering today. Brett Tonkin, he's a husband and father who's never been in trouble with the law, not even a traffic ticket. Tonkins now could face 8 years in prison if convicted in the deaths of 3 teenage girls. Georgia prosecutors say Brett Tonkin is responsible for a fatal car crash because he chased the girls off the road. As you'll hear in the defendant's own words, Brett Tonkins now says he's not responsible.
See anybody?
No.
In what direction was everybody running?
Up towards Ridgewood, which is a straight up off of Edgewood.
Had you at that point heard or seen any of the vehicles that these people left in?
No, sir, I have not.
Did you ever hear at that point any of them leave?
No.
So what did you and your wife do then standing in the driveway?
We were just talking about what had been done, that we couldn't believe had been done again.
Did you look at the pond to see whether anything had been dumped in it?
I didn't know, sir. My wife did.
Did you try to start taking any of the stuff down?
No, sir, not till the following morning. And I didn't do that. My son went out and started taking it down.
Did Sabrina wake up?
No, sir, not at all.
Or your son?
No, sir.
Or your mother?
No, sir.
So it was just the two of you out there?
Yes, sir.
Then what happened?
We were standing out there looking at everything done, and we heard a car come up Cottonwood towards our house.
And you say you heard it. Will you describe the sound?
I'm not talking about the sound of the vehicle. I'm talking about the sounds coming out of the car.
What were the sounds coming out of the car?
A lot of yelling and screaming.
Could you tell what the voices were saying?
No, sir, I could not.
Could you tell whether they're male or female voices?
No, sir, I could not.
And what did this, could you see the car?
Not until it got almost to Edgewood.
Could you hear it before you saw it?
Yes, sir.
And what color car was it?
It was kind of a white colored car.
You know what make or model or year?
I have no idea.
Where did it go?
It proceeded towards us, almost to Edgewood, and all the arms and everything were all out the window, yelling and hollering and everything else, and that's when I decided to go for the truck.
Okay. Now, you described this as a white vehicle, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And did you go and get in the truck?
Yes, sir, I did.
And did your wife get in the truck?
Yes, sir.
Was it already running?
Oh, no, sir.
Did you have the truck keys with you?
Yes, sir. I believe I stated in the audio before I went back in and got the car keys. I don't think I did. I think I had them on me.
And what did you do?
We got in the truck and I cranked it up, put seatbelts on, and proceeded to take off.
And you went down to the end of the driveway and you turned right.
Yes, sir.
You went the few feet on Edgewood to Cottonwood.
Yes, sir.
And which way did you turn?
Right.
Behind this white car?
Yes, sir.
Did you see another car at that time?
No, sir, I did not.
Had another car come in front of your house, a blue car, prior to that?
No, sir. Not that I saw, anyway. They might have came in front while I was inside putting my clothes on, but I never saw one. The only car I saw was that white car.
Did you hear a blue car or another car come by?
No, sir, I did not.
So the first car is the one that you chased, or that you went after, was this white one?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when you got to Edgewood, when you got to the intersection of Edgewood and Cottonwood, where was this white car?
It was already well in front of my house.
And you turned right after it?
Yes, sir.
What was your intent at that point?
Tag number, that was my only intent.
Had you and your wife talked about what your intent was?
No, sir.
What conversation had, at that point, at the time that you were turning right on Cottonwood, what conversation had transpired between you and your wife?
Prior to turning?
Yes.
None.
When you got behind the vehicle, turned right, you were then behind the vehicle. Did you follow the vehicle?
Oh, yes, sir.
And how far did you follow it?
To right past Berrywood.
And did you have your bright lights on?
No, no, sir.
Did you have your regular headlights on?
Yes, sir. Excuse me, my vehicle, even if I didn't turn the headlights on, it's got these day running lights. It's a newer model, and so.
Comes on anyway.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and many of you with that car certainly know what that's like. You don't have to do much with your car. Just open the door, turn on the ignition, and the light's already on. He looks like a very honest guy and certainly believable and a little bit helpful. But just think back to the actions the night of this accident, this collision, where he's running back to get his driver's license and not running down to assist the girls who've just been hit, just collided with the tree. Let's go to a break. We'll be right back.
On the next Crier Live.
The circumstances surrounding the disappearance of teenager Elizabeth Smart has investigators knocking on as many doors as possible. Our coverage continues.
Catherine Crier Live, today at 5, only on Court TV.
Dominic Dunn's Power, Privilege and Justice. Every Wednesday at 10, only on Court TV.
In an era of gritty reality TV, with in-your-face violence and gratuitous sex, finally comes an exceptionally clean cop show.
Oh, my God. What is that? Grease?
Tony Shalhoub is Monk. Crime solving is a dirty business. That's the problem.
You just got this one with the dog hair.
Monk, a USA original series, premieres July 12th at 9, only on USA.
I'm going with the flow.
Can I get life insurance at my age, in my health?
I'd like to leave my loved ones with a little something when I'm gone, but I'm afraid I'm too old to get life insurance.
If you're like these nice folks and thought life insurance after 45 was impossible to get or impossible to afford, I've got good news. If you're 45 to 79, Physicians Life guarantees you up to $10,000 of permanent modified whole life insurance, designed to help your family with the expenses they will face. You cannot be turned down because of your health. You can buy this insurance policy if you're 45 to 79 and you're insured for life, no questions asked. Just $1 pays for your first full month of protection. After that, you can continue at a monthly renewal rate that can never go up. Plus, your coverage can never be canceled because of your age or health. Easy to get and easy to afford. Now let me tell you why this protection is so important. All of us someday may leave behind expenses for our loved ones to pay. There's no escaping it. These expenses can easily add up to thousands of dollars. You know, some people even expect the government to take care of these expenses. But the fact is, Social Security currently pays a death benefit of just $255, and only if you qualify. That's why I urge you to take a look at this coverage. It's one sure way you can help leave your loved ones with dollars instead of debts. I'm proud to be their paid spokesman. This is one phone call your loved ones will be thankful for later. So call right now.
To get your free information kit directly by mail, call toll-free 1-800-258-4200. There's no cost or obligation. You're just calling for information. That's 1-800-258-4200.
We're here when you need us. Physicians Live.
Court TV's turning red, white, and all blue with a two-day marathon, July 4th and July 5th.
We gotta investigate the case.
Here's the lineup. Day 1. All movies, all day, starring cast members from NYPD Blue.
Oh, is that how it works?
Day 2, Detective Simone makes his final exit in the most dramatic season ever of NYPD Blue. So grab a box of tissues and join me, Nick Totoro, for a red, white, and all blue marathon starting July 4th at 9 a.m. I'm up for that. Only on Court TV.
So now, as Brent Tonkins has told the story, he has come out of his house to see what all the ruckus is about and sees the toilet paper and one car. He promptly gets the license of that car, and now he's going to discover the other one where he gives chase. He's going to pick up now his narration.
So you followed this white car in your truck to Berrywood and Cottonwood, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And just beyond?
Yes, sir.
What did you do during that period of time?
I told my wife to get a pen and a piece of paper. We were going to get their tag number. She got a pen. I have a console that's right in the middle of my truck. It folds down. And I keep pens in there, but we had no paper. So she got a pen out, and she started to write the tag number down on her leg.
Now, what was your intent at this point?
To get the tag number from the vehicle.
Why?
Honestly, we were tired of getting rolled.
And what were you going to do with that tag number when you got it?
Contact the police.
Now, was she able to write down the tag number?
Yes, sir, she was.
Were you able to get close enough behind the vehicle in order to take the tag number?
Oh, yes, sir.
How close did you have to get behind that vehicle in order to get the tag number?
A car length.
And prior to the car length behind it, could you read the tag number?
Not really, no, sir.
Now the headlights.
I couldn't.
Okay. Now the headlights on your vehicle, how big are they?
Do I have to say in inches, or can I?
If you'll just show us, that would be sufficient.
About like that.
Are they larger than those that are on a car?
I guess they are. Never really paid attention.
Did you notice how many people were in this white car?
I had no idea. The only thing I was basing it on was how many arms and everything were hanging out when they first came by.
Could you see their heads when you got behind it?
No, I couldn't.
You didn't happen to notice whether the trunk lid was opening or
No,
not?
sir, I didn't find that out till Officer Perdue told me when he questioned me at the police station a few weeks later.
Could you tell the age and sex of the driver?
No, sir, I couldn't.
Now, this car did not speed, did it?
No, sir, it didn't.
Didn't take off?
No, sir.
Didn't try to elude you?
Oh, no, sir.
And after you got the tag number, how did you know the tag number had been written down?
Margaret told me.
Was there a light inside the cab of your truck?
No, sir.
Where did she write it?
On her leg.
And then she turned and told you, okay, I've got it?
Yes.
What did you do after she told you, okay, I've got it?
We were just past Berrywood. I stopped and started back into Berrywood.
Now, you say you started back into Berrywood.
Backing into Berrywood.
Back into Berrywood. So everybody can see. That would be down here, is that correct? This is Cottonwood.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is Berrywood.
Yes, sir.
Now, you started backing into Berrywood.
Off of Cottonwood.
What was your intent at that point?
To go home.
And the fastest way home at that point
Was to back in and go back down Cottonwood.
Right. Had you seen any vehicles on Berrywood?
No, sir, I had not.
And you had just come by there.
Yes, sir.
When you backed up into Berrywood, did you have your lights on?
Oh, absolutely.
Did you have your backup lights on? Were they working?
I'm sure they were. It's a new truck.
Okay. And what happened?
As I started back into Berrywood, I had to turn around to my left. No, excuse me, my other left. My other left.
But your left was
My right. Sorry.
Okay. Which way did you turn?
I turned around to my right to start backing into Berrywood, and as I turned around, just as we got to Berrywood, starting back in, a blue car was heading down Berrywood towards us.
Is this the first time you've seen that blue car that night?
Yes, sir.
Could you tell who was driving it?
No, sir, I could not.
Tell the age of the person or the sex of the person
No way.
driving it?
No way.
Could you tell how many people were in it at that point?
No, sir, I couldn't, because as I started to back in, they came around me, and the ones that were in the car, except the driver, and I didn't get a good glimpse of the driver, but they all ducked down.
And did that blue car have its lights on?
I'm not sure.
All right. When that happened, do you happen to recall where the white car was?
I have no idea. After we got the tag number and I started to back up, I just didn't care anymore. So I don't know where it went.
When you say you don't know where it went, is that because you no longer were paying any attention to it, or because it was out of sight?
Because I was no longer paying attention.
And he got what he wanted from that car, which was the tag number written on his wife's leg. She wrote it there. And as Ernie, you just said, because that car did not try to elude him, everybody there stayed alive.
That's correct. So 3 things have happened during this testimony that made conviction more difficult. Intent to get the tag has been corroborated because he got it and left. They didn't speed, they stayed alive. And frankly, the rest is the way he is testifying. He looks like a good old boy, and it's really hard to imagine he would be so angry that he would do anything really bad.
Yeah, but you still keep thinking of the fact that his initial reaction was not even to help these girls when their car crashed, that he's rushing back home to get a license so it doesn't look as if there's any culpability on his part.
Well, that's certainly something that I would play up if I were the prosecutor. But again, then you're dealing with the, very traumatic situation. I mean, God, what has just happened? What have I just been involved with? But going back to what Ernie was talking about, I mean, he gets the tag off the first car, his wife writes it on the leg, and what does he do to the people in the car? Well, he does nothing. So it kind of, in a sense, does corroborate, in addition to his, the way that he's testifying, the manner that he's testifying, and the manner in which his wife testified, I think all kind of shows that this was a community tragedy. I think that the young woman's mom who testified before about the meeting with the priests and all, I think it all shows a community dealing with a horrible tragedy, and this is what happened.
Yeah, and the terms we've learned, TP'd, rolled, the toilet paper surrounding the house and trees on a property. This wraps up my time with you for today. I want to thank Ernesto Marrero and Robert ALTCHILER for their insights into this case. Coming up next on a solo trip, Lisa Bloom. She continues our look at the trial and closing arguments. I'm Sheila Steinbeck. I'll be back tomorrow with more on both sides. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned here on Court TV.
If you want to know more about the stories behind the trials, go inside the world of crime and justice.
The thing about homicide is this is what we do.
At CourtTV.com or log on to America Online and enter AOL keyword CourtTV.
Forget everything you think you know about slipcovers. At SureFit Slipcovers by Mail, we've rewritten the book on them. A whole new catalog of incredible slip-on coverings. Don't spend a fortune replacing your furniture. Now you can fall in love with it all over again. With a patented one-piece, easy-to-apply slipcovers from SureFit. Whether it's sectionals, sofa beds, leather furniture, or oversized chairs, SureFit slipcovers go on easy, look beautiful, and they stay in place. Best of all, they're priced to fit any budget. So call our toll-free number right now and we'll rush you our free catalog. It's filled with patterns, textures, and colors, all designed with you in mind.
For your free SureFit catalog, call 1-800-356-2626 or visit our website at www.surefit.com.